ask you, the oak tree, just like Oaks Farms and obviously your last name, it's one of the most loved trees in the world. That's according to Google. And with good reason, it's a symbol of strength, morale, resistance, and knowledge. What do you think about that?
Well, I didn't know that, but that makes me. I think that a lot of people might look at me and identify at least a few of those characteristics with me. Maybe I really am not certain of the whole heritage of where our Oaks name came from. I think it was possibly from. I have a decent amount of German, although I did the 23andMe. My dad had a my dad's grandmother was a Cherokee Indian, and I had really good lineage in my family, even at the time when I was in business for myself at Hancock Farms at probably 24, 25. I remember having great grandparents from both sides of my family coming to visit that store. So I had a lot of great grandparents that were alive into my mid-20s, and so I've always liked the name Oaks. Never really cared for my first name that much when I was younger. My God-given name is Francis, and we moved when I moved down here. So I moved down here in the first grade, and we moved in a really bad area of town over in Tice. It's called Glenwood Avenue, right behind Tice Elementary School. And really, at that time, there was a lot of, I guess you'd say like rednecks or hillbillies or whatever. But I went to Norfolk Myers High, so I ended up growing up into that culture a little bit. But at that time, I came from I went to a Catholic school in Delaware, and I was used to going to school with a white button-down shirt and a tie and plaid pants and shoes that my parents would dress me in. So the first day of school, we moved down here to this place, and not only am I a total fish out of water like the way I'm dressed, because it's in East Fort Myers and in this area, but I come to school with a tie on and a white shirt, and then my name is Francis. So I got picked on quite a bit for a while, and I don't even look at that thing as a bad thing. It was kind of a character builder for me, and I didn't, at that age you just do what you're supposed to do, and I'm like, well, make fun of me, whatever. I had one of the worst memories I have of that was a four-wheel drive truck going by as I was walking home from school, and they broke a rotten egg on top of my head because I had really white hair. I was like a towhead or whatever they call it, with really black, and it stunk really bad, and they went off laughing. But I was kind of in this environment where I felt out of like kind of a fish out of water. Like I didn't fit in with the rest of the people there. So it took me a while to acclimate. But I think that those things are not necessarily bad things. I ended up forging a lot of really strong relationships in that neighborhood in the next 4 or 5 years. People that I'm still very good friends with.
And strength is one of the characteristics here, listed here.
Yeah. So it makes me think of how important, like, I think that maybe getting off topic, but we've kind of, our culture started to baby people too much, or try to coddle everyone too much. You need, I certainly wasn't coddled, and I'm glad that I wasn't. And I haven't done that to my children. My children have all been a blessing to turn out to be 3 really strong-minded children, and I was very aware that I wasn't coddled, and then tried to do the same thing, parent the same way. And I think that's one of the mistakes as a culture that we're making, is trying to, it's easy to be overprotective of your kids or something like that, or even parents today that have so much. We're in this apathetic stage where we have so much. You want to leave your kids, better than you were. Well, what does that mean? Because leaving your kids better financially is not leaving your kids better. I think that we're finally, with this being generational, a few generations of this happening, we're seeing what a fallacy that is. And in fact, to leave your kids better, you want them to be like my dad said. My dad was one of the happiest persons I ever met, but it wasn't because of the money that he had and or the even comfort. And I want my kids to be happy, but I'm not leaving them. I've told my kids I'm not leaving them any money. I said, I'm not. This is not a family legacy. You're on your own. Like, don't wait for me to die. You're never going to get anything from me. And that way, I get them right out of the back. And I've been telling all my kids that since they were old enough to understand the concept of money. So that and I want not because I don't love them, because I do love them, and I want them to really understand what happiness is, and it's not by waiting for my money. So,
would you say your brand or company reflects any of these characteristics? It's strength, morale, resistance, knowledge.
Yeah, I think our company reflects all those. I think that there's a few more things that I could add to that, but our company I look at as a family. So I have orientations every Tuesday for all the new hires, and we typically are hiring anywhere from 15 to 20 people a week, and we've actually hired over 1,000 people that we've added to the roster in the last year, and I personally go to those and spend 2 or 3 hours with all the people, because I want them to get to know me, and I want it doesn't matter from a dishwasher to the highest level manager in our company. I want them to know who I am. I want them to know that they're part of our family. So there's a great respect that goes throughout that, and it's that's what I call like the strength of our company. The strength of our company is within that bond, and knowledge is a funny thing that one of the things I'm really skeptical of is the knowledge that you get from a book, right? That's a different type of knowledge than you get from a real life experience. And I think that's where the knowledge that's within our company is, of the 4,000 people in our company, very small percentage of those people are college educated. And a lot of the people that are successful, extremely successful in our company, the people that have got to the point where they're making, millions of dollars in our company are all people that just started out from the very bottom. I have the first employee that started working for me when he was 14 and I was 15 is still working for me. He's obviously doing very well for himself. I have even people that come on. I got a guy that was one of my top earners in the company that came to work for me 9 years ago. He was working at Sweet Bay making $14 an hour, and now he oversees almost 2,000 employees. So it's about we all kind of grow together, and I look at us like our company growing like an oak tree, kind of big and solid and strong, and we early on, my father, I almost lost the Oaks Farm store back in 2000 and in 1998. In 1998, I really had a really bad year and almost lost the store. And I was thinking about giving up the original Oaks Farm store. And I never thought about this until right now. It's funny because of this whole oak thing.
Yeah.
But at that time, I went up to Delaware, and I couldn't make money during the summer, so I went into the watermelon business, that I was selling the crops up the road, and I let a guy that wasn't a really good guy, which was one of my father's lessons about surrounding yourself with good people. I took a guy that wasn't really a good guy, and so that I could go back and be with my wife when my child was born, I signed him onto the checking account so that he could pay everyone. Well, he cleaned my clock. He stole about $500,000 from me. And there was nothing I could do because I made him a signer on the account. But I had these visions at that time of doing all this wholesale business and all that. And at that time, I came back to Florida, and my dad wrote me this letter. And in the letter, he told me, he said, you have to do whatever you're passionate about. He said, I'm not going to tell you what you should do. That's up to you. He says, but with my wisdom, he said, I would hope that you would take this Oaks Farm store, the store that I had, and because he knew that I was probably going to let it go, because at that time I had about $500,000 worth of bad checks out, and we were very much in debt, and I had to go COD with all the vendors, and I was probably going to let go of it. And he said, I hope that you would take this, because of all the other avenues, he says, you're dependent on those people, on those customers. They could cut you out at any time. He said, if you build a solid foundation with this retail business, you're going to put roots in the ground. And it's the first time I thought about the roots in the ground. He said, you're going to put roots in the ground that no one can take away from you. And if you build that business strong, and I never thought of it being building that business strong like an oak, but that was another pivotal moment in my life where I decided that I am going to do that because no one can take it away from me. And it took me 5 years to go from zero, basically from less than zero. I was hundreds of thousands of dollars of bad checks around town to get back on top. And that was from 1998 until around 2003 when I finally got my head above water. And but it's funny looking back on it now to think about that letter and how the specific term that he used was putting roots in the ground. And since then we've built the company very old school. We have almost no debt right now. We have strong roots in the ground. We're very vertically integrated. We're very strong to where whatever forces that might come around us it is from that strength, from the strength of having, if this whole world goes upside down, we're going to have food at our seated table stores. We're going to be able to employ our employees. We have our own electricians. We have our own carpenters. We have our own metalworking people. We have our own mechanics that work on our trucks. I've got hundreds of thousands of gallons of extra diesel for worst case scenarios. So when I think about that, I think about that is the strength of an oak. So we're going to keep growing that tree.
Keep growing.
Yeah.